Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap pre-market analysis and trade plan setup for Friday, July 11th, 2014. Thank goodness it's Friday. Hope everybody has had a good week with this this very volatile market this week. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder and head moderator of Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap is a self-organized learning environment. It is not a commercial venture. It is a private venture. We are a group of retail traders that have had a chat room on Skype for coming up on 5 years next month. And we come together in this chat room and talk about the market, talk about our trades, talk about market observations, and anything to do with trading-related information. If you're interested in finding out more about it or joining our group, you can give me a contact request on Skype. I'll be Doug_McKay. I'll be the one from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Of course, everything we do on Quantum Leap is currently being ported up to our new website and our Stealth Analytics website. And if you want more information on that, you can give me a contact request at d.mckay@stealthtrader.com. Each morning we come together in this live session and I go over my market analysis. I do go through a normal pre-market routine. We do not take shortcuts in trading. We have to prepare ourselves and do our proper homework, and we have a normal routine that we do every single morning, same thing every morning, and we go from the macro to the micro and the key numbers, then we look at the macro to the micro and the trend, and then we get into market structure and more in-depth chart analysis, and then we set up our hypotheses and our trade levels and our targets for the day. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you might want to skip ahead until we get into some more of the in-depth chart analysis. But again, it's very important as a trader to have a pre-market and a post-market routine. Before we get going, I have to get the disclaimer out of the way. This information is for the purpose of educating members who want to expand their knowledge of the business of trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. You are responsible for trades or investment decisions you make. Trading features or any instrument involves risk of loss. Please consider carefully whether features or options are appropriate to your financial situation. Only risk capital should be used. When trading features or options, investors could lose more than initial investment. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Okay, so let's get right into the numbers. Well, before we do that, let's just take a look at this. There's a cup and handle formation that's set up on the 5-minute. Nino posted a chart, and I saw immediately that there is also a cup and handle. The handle still has room to go down, all the way down to about 1952, 1952 and a quarter. But if we do break above this 1965, it gives us a nice measured move up to break new highs, and with the measured move at 1982 and a quarter is what I'd put it at. So just keep in mind with this in mind. Now, of course, our month open is at 1975.75. So you've got to mark that down, and we'll take a look at, based on the 20-day ATRs, whether or not we've actually hit critical mass against the ES Open. Definitely have hit critical mass on the Russell. Our Russell Open, week open, was 1202.40, and not likely to make it up to there by the end of the day. So we're at critical mass on one, we're nearing critical mass on the other. So that's got to be part of your thought process today. Going over to the key numbers, we've got our 78 above. We've got our month open just below us at 1954.50. That should be a number you have written down in your journal. Of course, we put in a new all-time low down at 1945 and a quarter on that sell-off in the Globex the other night. Going over, there's nothing really else on the macro numbers. Taking a look at the Globex, the day yesterday, we opened the Globex at 67.50. We had a high of 68 and a quarter. Of course, we put in the new month low in the Globex yesterday at 45 on European news about Portugal. We opened auction out of range at 1947.50. Had a normal variation day. We broke the ID to the upside. Of course, we we took back a lot of the sell-off yesterday. 5 3/4 point opening swing, real big opening swing as they took back and fought the buyers and sellers until the buyers took control most of the day. Our 1230 number, 62 1/4, high 64, our low 45.75, and then we closed at 1958. And our VPOC shifted down to 1956.75. 20-day ATR targets are running just under 11 on the RTH, just under 13 on the full session, and just over or just under 7 1/4 on the Globex. And I just want to mark this 1288 as my 20-day. Volume very heavy yesterday. We had 1.5, almost 1.6 in RTH, and almost 2 million, and that was caused by there were some big boys playing. Somebody was liquidating a position yesterday late in the afternoon, as we discussed in the room. Value area high was lower at 63 1/4. Value area low was lower at 52.75 for a 10.5 point, and that's a pretty large value area. And of course, we broke the IB to the upside at 947 inside that second pocket. Going over to the daily report, our pivot, the daily pivot is 57. Our R1 is 68.75, and our S1 is 45.75. There's no real news today. We just had the Canadian. We had the Canadian employment change at 7:30, or 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. Didn't really do much to the market. We do have the federal budget balance at 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern, but it's not really a big news release. Of course, there is headline risk out right now with everything that's going on in Germany, everything that's going on over in Syria, everything that's going on with Portugal. I mean, just headline risk is there today. Definitely, and now they're trying to impeach Obama about healthcare. So you never know what the flavor of the market's going to be, or the sentiment of the market participants. Our 20-day ATR targets with the Globex high, or so far the full session high at 63.50 and the low at 56.50. Gives us 20-day ATR targets at the moment to the upside, 1969 1/4, and to the low side, 1950.75. So let's jump right over and take a look at the macro to the micro and the trends. We got great trend on the monthly. This move down is nothing in terms of the big trend. Good slope, good separation. Trend is intact on the monthly. On the weekly, same thing. Even with the the big sell-off and coming down and breaking below last week's level low, we pop back up, but the trend is intact. We've got good slope and separation. On the daily, we did break down below the 9 EMA. We closed that technical gap we talked about, and we're holding the 20 SMA. This is going to be an important level that we need to hold, is this 1955 on the daily. Going over to the geometric chart, well, we came down, we rejected the upper line of the downward sloping fork, blew right through to test the lower line of the downward sloping fork, and then took it all back, and we closed just above the center line. Overnight, we've gone up and tested the upper line of the downward sloping fork, but we did not break out of it. A test to the lower line, the center line today will take us down into that 1952 area, 1952 1/4. Of course, we've broken out of the short-term upward sloping fork, so I'm now going to get rid of that. There's no use for it anymore, but we're holding inside the intermediate fork, and a move down to test the center line of that intermediate fork would take us all the way down to 1924.50, and the lower line of the long-term fork, okay, we didn't quite get to the center line, but we basically rotated off of it, would take us down to the 1916, but I'm looking at as if you follow me, I'm looking at that 1914.50 as the area. A break out of the upper line of the upward sloping fork above 62, 63 area could give us a move up to this 1980. Of course, we've got that cup and handle that takes us up to 82 area. So that would certainly fall into play with that pattern if that pattern remains valid. And that pattern will remain valid until we go below that 1952 level. Taking a look at the intraday trends coming into the Globex or coming into the RTH, we basically have invalidated the downward trend that we're in the 4-hour, but we are trading below the 9 and the 20 right now on the 4-hour. On the 30-minute, we do have some weakness coming in the last half hour, and we haven't started a trend yet. We're basically sideways consolidation, but we are seeing some weakness on the 30-minute. On the 15-minute, a little bit of a different story. We're starting a trend down, but we are creating a technical gap, just like we did yesterday. Remember, we had that technical gap on the short-term time frame, and they went up and closed that gap on the open and into the RTH. Just drilled it down one more to the 5-minute. Same thing. You've got start of a downward trend, okay, and we've got a technical gap going on the 5-minute. So look for them to close out these technical gaps on the 5 and the 15, and it is going to be a choppy open. All right, let's go take a look at the big picture. So far, right now, okay, we've taken back all that move down in the Globex, and we've gotten back up above this key CLVN at 1956 and a 40, 1956 and a quarter. I'll choke on that. We are now up and in this distribution between 1960 and a quarter and 1956 and a quarter, with balance around this 1958 and a quarter. That's the the CHVN, as well as and I'm going to bring yesterday in, and you can see that the CHVN and the 3-day microcomposite, okay, is right at 1958 and a quarter. So one of my hypotheses for the day is, I expect it to be a rotational day today. I think it's going to be an inside. I just don't know whether or not it's going to be, to the short term, with the short-term bias to the downside or to the upside. But anytime I see a pattern like this, where I've got wicks, I have to worry about the fact that we could get stuck in the wicks here. So, if we get above, if we stay above 1956, my main hypothesis is to chop around between this 1962, 63, maybe 65, and this 1956, with the majority of the day, repairing the auction between the 3-day wicks in here. But I'll drill that down a little bit more. If we get below the 56 and a quarter, then I'm expecting a rotational day, okay, inside and around this 1952.75. This is, this 1952.75, remember, is the microcomposite VPOC going all the way back to 05.27 until we broke out up here. And what I should do is I'm just going to bring this. Let's see a bigger picture. You can see, even if I bring in all the days going back from May, and that basically is the day that we had the gap. I'll even include this day. You can see that that's the start of this whole run up here, and the most accepted price, okay, during this whole period of the move up to make new highs and in the move down, is here at 52.75. So if we get below 56 and a quarter, we have a likely rotation down to this 1952.75, and we could get stuck in around here. So really, the dividing line today and our line in the sand is going to be this 1956.25. So mark that down in your journal and trade off of that. Let's take a look at the Globex and start moving our numbers over to our chart. Our Globex low, looky, look what it is, 1956.25. See how that plays out? So we've got 56.25, okay, as our overnight low. We're likely to test this on the open. Our overnight high is up here at 63.50, which is basically one tick above our value area high from yesterday. And then our overnight VPOC is at 61.25, and that's just below that, 61.25. I don't think it's going to change, but we'll have to, it might shift down to this 57.75 if we trade enough here before the open, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. Can you do me a favor, Howard, and do a download on yours just to make sure it hasn't shifted already? I've got a lot running on this computer. So how am I looking for trades? First of all, that 56.25 is going to be a key level for me. It's going to be a target. I think it's going to get taken out on the open. In fact, if I was a betting man, I'd get short right now for it to get taken out. But we don't bet. We trade the probabilities, so we got to wait for our levels to come in. It's going to be choppy here. We've got the VPOC from yesterday here at 56.75. We've got the naked close up at 58, and then we've got the overnight VPOC. Just below the overnight VPOC, we've got this LVN from yesterday. We don't need this, so let's get rid of that and expand this out. And that LVN is right in line, okay, with this 1960.25 CLVN. So that's the other area that I'm going to be watching on the open, and these are my two trade areas. I'm not going to try to take trades in between this area because there's no edge. But if we come up and we reject this 1960.25 and the sellers take control, and I'd be looking for a rotation down towards the VPOC and the overnight low and that key level CLVN at 56.25. Same thing on the other side. If we come down and we take out the overnight low but don't break below that 56.25, maybe push through to this 54.25 and then rotate back up, then I'd be looking to get long into the overnight high and the value area high here at 63.50, and that's going to be the other area that I'll be looking to do business. Above the value area high, I don't give too much emphasis on that 1964 high. There's too many targets above it, so I'm not even going to pay attention to that. It is a CLVN, but if we break above the value area high, we're also breaking above the value area high of the the 3-day microcomposite, and we're more likely to come up and test this 65.25. But really, I've got my eye on the long-term value area high at 66.75. Why? Because we've got a naked VPOC up here at 66. We've got a whole bunch of targets up here in this area, and that's why I'm saying if we hold this 56 level and break above 60.25, we're likely to get chopped up and get stuck in the wicks up here in this whole area up here in this 60. You might think you get some responsive selling stepping in at the 66.75. So if you're looking to fade, that would probably be the only area. But I think you really have to wait to see if they take out this 67.25 and possibly push through to 68. So I'm going to put a trade level right here, okay, basically right at that 67.25, 66.75, level, because you might get responsive sellers stepping in trying to hold us inside of value here. But anything above that, I'm not even going to look to start shorting up there. I'm just going to take the drift, okay, and look for the move back up into that 69 area. Remember, we've got that 67 and a quarter, 67.50, which was a key area. In fact, I'm going to move this up to 68 and a quarter, and oh, didn't mean to do that. And I'm going to put a target here at the 67 and a quarter, because I really think, I mean, you've got a target here at 66, but if we get up here, you know, I think we come up into this balance area again at 67 and a quarter. Really nothing above us. You've got the 68.75. So I'm looking at this area, you know, as responsive buyers, but you've got the naked V pocket 69 and the naked close at 71, and then just above that you've got the 3-day value where they tried to hold value up after making the new high up here at 74 and a quarter, and that would be a target, but I really don't think we're going to get up there. And then you've got just above that, you've got the week open. If they do get in this area and the buyers see that they can get into a positive bullish week, they might try to run to that 75 area, but not, that's a low probability for me. Now, that's what I'm looking at to the upside. If we come down and we break below this 1956, everything shifts down to this 52 area. You do have a LVN here at 54.50, but I don't think it's going to hold. I think you can set up for a destination 80% value area play and a move down to the major balance. And this is my major target, but it's also remember, trade areas for me are targets too, but the difference between a target and a trade area is I will add on at a trade area. I will not add on at a target. But a trade area is always an area where I'm going to be scaling, okay, and using as a target as well. If we break below 52.75, then you've got the CLVN down here at 51, and it's also a it's right there at a CLVN. I'm going to mark it. It's going to look a little bit convoluted there, but I'm thinking that they might come down. This is the lower side of balance down here around the longer term price acceptance at 52.75, but it is right there at the value area low. So you're going to get responsive buyers stepping in, but they could push through down to the 51 to test the lower side of the balance on the longer term. If we break below that 51, the clear target below is this. You've got two targets. You've got 48.75, but really I'll be looking at this 47.75. You've got the 48.75. It's an LVN. But you've got the open down here at 47.50, and the key CHVN here is 47.75. So I'm going to use 47.75 as my target. And then below that, you've got the range low at 45.75. That's pretty clear cut. And then if we break below that, just below that is the next key CLVN at 44 and a quarter. So you got to be careful with any breakout trade of the range low. Look for the possibility. If you take this, if you add on here, I mean, if you're not short already by here, you got something wrong with your trading. But if you are looking to add on to a short from here, just make sure that you're scaling before we get to that 44 and a quarter, simply because it could cause a reaction. But below that, you've got the 43 and a quarter naked VPOC, and then you've got the other big number. And this is a big number because we haven't come down and tested this area. This area on the way up was important to us because it was where we, came and accepted value, okay, after failing to hold value at the 52.75. So think in terms. They couldn't hold value at 52.75, okay, before, and they came down and they found that value at 42.75. Now, if they can't hold value in this 52.75, they've already, gone down below it once. The second time, likely not going to hold and likely come down to this 42.75. So that is an extended target for me today down here at this 42.75. And I'm not expecting a lot more than that today, but if we do, we could rotate down through. You've got a target down at 40, and you've got the other side of balance. And this 38, this is an all key value for me. And this is the major line in the sand where I'm starting to really think that we've got weakness coming in, and we're likely to come down to the 27.25. But I'm really looking at this 1914, because this 1914, okay, is basically the last place that they, after the breakout, that was the first spot that they held value and consolidated, and then made this big move up. And but I'm thinking below 38, then we're going to see some weakness and probably a move down to test the lower 1900s, if not even the 1800s. But we're not there yet. We have to trade what we see. And my main hypothesis is either to get stuck in the wicks up here if we hold 56, or get stuck in the body and have an inside day and trade around 52.75. Pretty simple layout. You've got some very clear targets today, and it's a Friday. Fridays are generally, if we get, moving in one direction, we generally have the drift the rest of the day in a slow grind in one direction. All right, we're 1913. Let me just do this because I know I'm running late. So I'm just going to bring up the trade room, and we're just going to walk you through.
Yeah, by the way, Doug, the Globex VPOC did ship to 57.75.
It did ship to 57.75, so let me make that change. All right, so I know I prefer to bring up the charts and show you on the charts with the Russell, but you know what? I'm running out of time. I've got to start earlier in the morning, I guess, if I'm going to do this. So here's kind of a similar thing. The only thing different with the Russell is we have no chance, in my mind, that we're going to be able to get back to the open. So I'm just going to read this out. Prior to yesterday's RTH session in Globex, we had a major sell-off in Europe. Took us down to that 1140.50. Okay, we opened yesterday's RTH session at 46.30, and subsequently we took back most of the sell-off, and we closed up at 1157.80. We're currently trading just above that at 1159 when I wrote this. 1159.10 is a major balance point on the intermediate and long-term time frame. We will be opening in range and inside value, on the last day of the week. Look for a rotational day with the possibility of getting stuck in the wicks. We've still got a problem with the wicks on the Russell. We'll take a look at it quickly. Between the ranges of 54.60 and 1170.80 for the good portion of our trading day. For trading, what I'd look for is to take out of yesterday's close on the open at 1157.80 and the value area high 1159.60. What I mean is I expect our opening swing to be quite volatile, and that we should touch both those points on the opening swing. It's going to be choppy because we've got multiple distribution zones from yesterday's RTH profile because of the volatility that came in. If we break above the value area high at 1159.60, look for the buyers to push up to test the LVN, which is a very key LVN on the Russell at 1161.50. A break above there, we should get an immediate target up at 63, but most likely continue up to 1165.30 with the key CHVN being at 1165.50. Possible resistance will be at 66.60, but if we break above that, there's a good chance that we're going to go back up to the main balance, the microcomposite VPOC, up at 1168.20. And that's the two-day balance that we fell out of up there too at 1168.90. Up here, the distribution puts the buyers clearly in control, and I would look for a move to 1169.70 to take out the gap from Wednesday at 1170.80. I don't see a lot more upside there, but there is possibility of continuation, and those numbers would be 1172.50 and 1174 with an extended target up at 1176.30. That's the other side of balance around that CHVN at 69.70. If we fail to get above 61.50, okay, then we're inside of value, okay, at 1159.60. Look for the rotation down to the midpoint from yesterday at 1155.20. Below that, we've got clear targets. If we break below that at the naked VPOC at 52.40, and this will set up a destination trade, the 80% value area trade down to 1149.10. Look for responsive buyers down there, but if they don't step in and we break below that value, then look for a move down to test yesterday's open, the open of yesterday at 1146.30 and the range low from 44.70. If we break below that 44.70 low, that was yesterday's RTH low, it could get ugly. And I'm expecting a move down to take out that Globex low from the sell-off at 1140.50, but more likely test that 1137.50. And this will, if we break 1137.50, this will signal a much bigger rotation, and we're likely to see those targets below at 1130.60, 26.70, but the big number is the former microcomposite VPOC at 1120, which was our composite VPOC on the June contract at 1120.10, and then the current adjusted VPOC composite at 1116.40. I don't expect much from there, but just taking a quick look at what I'm seeing is your value area low is down here at 49. That key LVN is right in line with the 61.50. If we break below the the 54, which is the IB, you've got good destination to the VPOC, naked VPOC, and the value area low, and anything below 44.70, okay, you really don't have anything there until you get down to 37.50, and below 37.50, okay, you've got the 30.60 and the 26.70, but this is the most accepted price going all the way back to that October 9th swing low on 2013 down here at 1116.40, and then the naked VPOC at 1120. But the 1120 used to be the composite VPOC on the June contract. And then it gets really blunt down here, and I'm expecting once we get back down in this area just to chop around. If we get above this 1160.50, then you can see that we could get stuck in the wicks as we repair the auction here with a slow drift up towards the 68-69 area and possibly a close of the naked close from Wednesday. Let's take a quick look at gold. All right, gold, of course, you know what my thoughts are. This is the composite VPOC going all the way back to 2008. The start date on this is 10/24/2008. So here we are. We've come up, and it was down here at this 1293. 3 days ago, the composite VPOC shifted higher. What does that mean? How do you put that into context? Well, what it means to me is they're accepting value higher, okay, and we're likely to get a continuation. But we need to break out of this balance. We looked at yesterday, we talked about, if we broke that 23 area, the value area high, that looked for a move up to, that 46, and we got it overnight. And now we're trading, in around this 37, this 38 CHBN is no longer. They're filling these levels in now. I'm just going to take those off. The key number is going to be the 4680. If we break above 4680, look for at least a move up to 53. You can get in, get funded, but the big move is up into this next distribution point, and with the key number being this 1378. If we break below the low tonight at 3490, look for them to move down to test the value area high down here at 26.25. But if we get back inside of value, then I'm looking for a move down to this 1315.80 level, back into the major price acceptance, and to see if we can, keep the buy side. A break below 1170 should give you a move down to test the other side of balance around the composite VPOC down here at 1307. And then a break below 1307 could get a shift and a move back of the composite VPOC, down here at 93. But I'd be looking for a test of 1300 if we break below 1307. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at. That's going to complete our homework session. I apologize, I started late, and it looks like people were having some microphone issues. Nothing I can do on this side. Some people heard me. I hope I didn't go on deaf ears. But then that wouldn't be the first time. Hey, Mr. Beal, I just see that you're in the room. How you doing?